Hello, welcome to another episode of Faith and Flow. My name is Kat Navarro-Lee, and I have been enjoying doing these casual conversations with people in the entertainment business about their unique journey in their career and pursuing their dreams, the unique ups and downs that come with pursuing a career in entertainment, and how that collides and intersects with faith and belief in God. This next conversation is with my funny friend, Gilbert Galon, who's well known for being a co-host on the podcast Tiger Belly. And if you've been lucky enough to see him in one of his improv shows, you might have fallen over and peed yourself because he's just uniquely interesting and funny. That's Gilbert. In fact, in our conversation, we're all over the place and there's not really like an order. In fact, in the very beginning, we're talking about the people that we admire of faith in the entertainment business, and then we just kind of go wherever. But there's some good stuff in there as he talks about how he's grown in his faith and how he's also grown in his career. And I think he makes you laugh in different parts of this interview. He makes me laugh. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, guys, take care and thanks for watching. Mwah.
For me, actually, someone that really, especially because you're pretty familiar with my walk. You were actually there from the very beginning. Kind of, you actually were there at the very beginning of me coming to.
You were a Satan worshiper?
Yeah, not even a Satan worshiper. I was a butthole worshiper. All I wanted was to conquer butts. That's all I wanted to do. And then I met you and Chris, and my life changed forever.
Conquer butthole. It was because you met Cindy, right? Like God worked through Cindy to bring you to.
No, God worked through me. Self-will. I did it on my own. No, but I was basically, what I was trying to say is like, Chris Pratt is someone during my walk that was definitely like, oh, wow. Cause like, I always found myself being like, it's so funny. You always like see all these like very dramatic, like actors that will give a shout out to the Father, wherever they are on the spectrum of Christianity or just even God in general. But there was like dramatic actors like, oh, I have no one to look to because I'm so silly. I'm like, it's when that phase you go through when you first become like a Christian, you're like, oh my God, I do so many things wrong. Like, I'm just like, everything I do is wrong, especially me being like, all I do is joke about terrible things and very like crude and like all that stuff. So it was like that early phase. And I remember seeing Chris Pratt like post something about like I guess he came back to faith, like I guess after his divorce, or maybe it was during it. I'm not exactly sure, but or he was just very vocal about it online. Had never really seen that from him, and I used to watch him all the time. Or had always watched him like on Parks and Rec, and even like his comedy outside of the show is very like he's always doing like really like blue humor, like dirty jokes. I was like, oh yeah, that guy. He's like my kind of style, but I would never have pegged him for a Christian. And then like. Yeah, then he started posting all this stuff about like his faith, like openly, and yeah, it's crazy. And then I remember him. Did you see him at the MTV Movie Awards? Mm-mm. You got to watch that. He basically straight up, he gets the Generation Award, and straight up in front of the MTV Movie Awards, he basically like goes, I should pull it up, but basically he does like a bunch of 10 things you should do in life, like wisdom things, and it's like a couple of them are like jokes, like. Make sure when you poop, do it quick and flush it so it doesn't smell in the bathroom. Oh my God, that's so and then something like 30 goes like, God is real, and then comes into the fourth. It's like we're like what? And then like at the last one, he talks about like, don't ever forget that someone died for your sins in his blood, and like everyone was like what? And people were like, some people were like clapping and stuff. But it was just like for someone like him, who I guess a lot of people see as like, oh, just like your standard Hollywood dude. Makes jokes. He like came out and was like very convicted, and in his award speech, these are like the moments I feel like, especially in the industry, when someone can really do some kingdom work when they have that platform and like really lay down truth and not like worrying about offending someone. Chris Pratt was like, boom, this man died for his sins. Know that you are loved. Wow. And it's like I can't believe you haven't heard about this or seen this. This is like 3 years ago.
I know. I guess I'm like totally out of it. Must be mom. I'm not cool. And yeah, no, I had heard that he was a Christian, but I haven't heard that specific that thing. But that is
he's not a fair weather Christian either. He openly will like talk about it. So I think he had like a reawakening, a spiritual, because he'd always talked about like God since he was like 19. He said that he talks about what you're talking about right now, like God worked in his life because something like he was in Hawaii and someone was like, hey, you should believe in God. He was like, okay. And then his career like happened.
What?
You should interview Chris Pratt. I don't know why you're talking to me. Talk to Chris Pratt. And I used to be so nervous even telling people I used to go to church because I had a perception of how Christians, I probably had your typical view of Christians, especially like what I guess Protestant or like evangelical or just more contemporary. Because I grew up obviously Catholic and then obviously essentially became an atheist or like agnostic at that point, or basically just didn't care. I basically just didn't care anymore. But yeah, I had that same feeling about people. So when I did become, when I did started like rediscovering my faith, and then even when I got baptized a couple years ago, it was still, I don't know, it's weird. There's some moments, I think it's when I'm not in the Father's presence or I'm really connected with him or I'm allowing him to speak into my life. I do find myself not as confident because that means I don't know his truth because I'm not studying. I'm not with him. So I don't even know where he wants to direct me. So, and I find myself being very like, oh, I don't want to talk about being Christian ever. But like when I am like with him and it's like, boom, boom. And I'm doing my I don't want to say work, but when I'm really pursuing him, I find myself being like so open to talk about it and like engage with people. I'm not like fearful of it. So it is interesting. I think it's just the less time we spend with him, I think the more fear comes out of like what people's perception. Because when you don't have that, when you're with him and that presence, and we all know that feeling, it's crazy. You have this like power, and then also you affect other people. Like you're not even worried what people think, and all your worst fears usually don't even play out. Some people don't even care. Like, cool, whatever. It's like, crazy how we tell ourselves all this stuff. It's weird.
So do you feel like with having a closer relationship with God that's affected your confidence in your work, in your craft, and in your acting, in your funniness?
In my funniness? What kind of interview? What kind of fake variety interview is this? Do you have real terms? How do you feel about your funniness? Huh.
Your funniness.
I'm Kat Navarro-Lee from Variety.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, I feel like when you do have that faith, there's a certain level of confidence that maybe people get more grounded in. Did you feel like there was a different level of confidence and having that relationship with God?
Yes, I think so what I struggled with, which I didn't even know, I was so oblivious to, was I used to, or even still do, like I have tendencies where people always go like, oh, it's Gilbert, he's so confident. Like I'm like, sure, charisma, he exudes all this stuff, but I feel like a lot of times I was presenting myself even in those moments where I was confident, but I even think it wasn't even a true version of what my confidence was. It was more like maybe like a people pleasing, because I don't want people like to not like me. I think that's one of my core things that I've always struggled with. It's like, does this person not like me? Like, oh my God, am I not funny enough? Or am I being, they won't like me if whoever I decide to be. Like I have to present myself all the time. And when I came to Christ, or when I started like chasing the Father and his like, I started to learn about what he already said about me, like who I was. And it's when you start thinking about like, you start reading scripture or you just start listening to sermons and you start understanding what he already says about you, there is this sense of like authenticity of like just who you are comes out. And I think it doesn't come with a facade. So I think so much of my life has always been facade. And even when I don't know it, like where I believe sometimes, so I'm like, when someone like, dude, you're being like extra or something. It's like, no, I'm just like, that's just who I am. But I realize, oh, it's the purpose of like serving that person or serving me. So I don't feel like hurt by rejection or something. Whereas when I came to the Father, I finally, and that plays into my whole testimony. That was like the moment he spoke to me was, do I have to share my testimony? I'm going to cry. I don't want to do it. Basically the shorts version is essentially, at Radius, heard a sermon about Joseph, our pastor at Radius, still a pastor at Radius. He was wearing a jacket at the sermon, and the jacket had all these different labels. So it would say like adulterer or like cheater or like liar, or it was like overconfident. It was just like all these labels that we give ourselves and society gives ourselves, but God never gave us. So we already decided who we were before he even told us. And then I think he said something after all that. He took the jacket off and said, just come as you are. The Father already loves you for who you are. And I remember being like just crying because I don't think I ever like really thought about it to be like, whoa, I don't have to be any of these things. I don't have to have these placeholders on me. I'm already told of who I am, that I'm already loved for literally exactly the way I am. And it sounds so cheesy, but like in that moment, it just made so much, it was just, everything became so clear to me
Yeah.
that you're truly enough, like truly, truly enough. And then when I realized that, everything became more clear to me now. Like now when I know, like even when I'm like, say if you're acting in a scene, like I know when I'm being fake, even in an audition room now, or even I'm like portraying this fake confidence or trying to be all something because I feel like, oh, they need me to be this. I think I'm more aware of that now, where I'm like exuding almost like this facade. And I notice the moments when I'm just most sincere myself, however I'm feeling or how I want to present myself, just like my actual self, I get a call back. And I remember early on in my career, I never used to care about stuff because I was so green. And I think that's kind of that childlike, like, oh, I don't care. I'm just going to just do whatever.
Right.
I kind of just I always get callbacks to producer sessions. And then there was a stint for years where it's like, I took so many classes. You hear all these things about how you need to be, plus my own insecurities of like how to present yourself in front of casting directors and this person, that person. You almost become like just a version of yourself that's just like
in your head, right?
Yeah, it's in your head, artificial or not. I wouldn't even say fully artificial, but like you just create a persona that's not authentic to that moment. And it becomes like a canned thing I always do when I see cast director, do this, smile this way, be sassy here. And
like a clown.
Yeah, exactly. No, seriously, like funniness. Yeah. But like you were saying, when what the confidence that God instilled in me, or it was already in me, was just him always saying, you're enough, you're enough. Just present yourself because you are already enough. And once I like started going to that mindset, I started even just enjoying myself again. And even in scenes with people, I'm not worried about anything. It's just me. Like that kind of like childlike spirit, I guess, again. So yeah, I think the confidence has always been there, but it's a different type of confidence now. It's I would say it's more authentic and more real. Is like that all the time? Hell no, because I'm a flawed person. So I still go back to that tendency when I'm like, people pleaser. But really, I think, I think that confidence is all rooted once you can truly understand who already told you who you were and that you're really enough. It's crazy.
I've actually seen that in you, because I think from first meeting you and seeing that side of you where you're like, yes, I'm Gilbert, woo! And then
I'm in the room.
But then also seeing the difference, like when we have those one-on-one conversations or when we were in Bible study together, like how grounded and deep you can be. And so sometimes that's a side that people don't always see of you, because they see performer Gilbert, improv Gilbert.
Oh my God, what are you, a therapist?
Gilbert.
Oh no, you're saying all the stuff that I don't like. Oh.
But then getting to really talk to you, knowing, oh, hey, you do have that side of you that's serious and grounded, and it's not just one thing. But I've seen that grow even more, and where it's kind of become more three-dimensional, where it's when you're up there and you're being funny, I still see the deep Gilbert shine through.
Oh, wow, Kat, what are you, a pastor? Whoa, what are you doing here? Oh, you're trying to go to seminary. I see.
How did you know? Like, yeah, that's really my next.
I feel calling. I feel like my faith grew during the same time your tummy grew. And when you gave birth, I gave birth to my true self.
No, but it's true though. It's kind of really cool to see, because I feel like so many people, especially in this industry, we worry so much about what other people think, and even just in relationships, right? Like wanting the approval of other people. And then when you can get past that, your relationships with people go to another level too. Well, I also wanted to know, since, with your journey, have there been moments where you feel like certain things have happened, whether it's in your personal life or in your career, where you felt like it was definitely God leading you to something specific, or God guiding your path? Well, obviously, meeting Cindy.
Okay, guys, it doesn't all revolve around Cindy, all right? Just have some conduit for it. Actually, we are all conduits of the Holy Spirit. We're all vessels. I guess I don't think that way when it's like, because I think in terms of like theology, my mind is very set on like anything that happens really is like God's working. So
Yeah.
I don't go when it's like, oh my God, I did get a good callback. So I was like, oh my God, like it's like, of course, praise God, thank you, God. But to me, it's like already assumed. So I don't go
Yeah.
like, God played a huge part. It's like, no, he's just doing his thing. Because the days I don't get callbacks, that's also him too. So like it's all part of like his plan and just kind of like him. So like I guess I don't have moments where I'm like, oh my God, God played a moment in this specific part of my career. But what I can say is I think God is something that is stirring inside of me, especially these days where I'm coming into maturity of understanding, I guess, gifts.
Mm-hmm.
There's like kind of like how we all have God-given gifts. And I think because doing like this past year, I did Radius's Unravel. And then I started also this other mastermind group where we discover our gifts. And it's not necessarily Christian based, but the woman is of faith. She's a Christian. So she does use some of that terminology. And like the core of it is that we are all given God has given us all individual gifts, and we have to lean into those and really discerning what those gifts are. So I think for lately, I've been realizing I've been having a heart for, I didn't realize how many men I affect in my circle, in my life, and how many ears not being like, not oblivious, but like didn't realize how many ears and eyes are really kind of focused on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I
People are
think
watching you.
people are watching, and not just like TV stuff, but like just even stuff. I'm just realizing I can feel it now. I think just going to maturity is like, oh, there are some people that are looking to me to help guide them, help lead them, and or steward them without even knowing. So I think that's one thing I never thought I want, like really care about mentorship, but like I'm at a very soft point of mentorship right now where it's like, okay, I can see where God is placing me in certain people's lives, the way that he's placed certain people in my life. It's like, I see. It's like you're learning. Now it's time to also guide. And then also gifts of just like I'd known I've always made people like laugh and I guess bring joy, but I didn't realize the importance of joy. For me, it was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I just make people laugh. I'm like, and you realize that is God, is joy. Like that
Yeah.
is what gives so much. It's almost the fuel to the engine is joy. It's joy. That's how you get to hope, is through joy. So I didn't realize how much a part of my identity is joy, and that
Mm-hmm.
like it makes sense why I'm in this industry, I guess. I used to always question why I'm even in this industry. It's like I obviously like when I became like a Christian or started walking faith, I had all this like crisis where I was like, I can't be in this industry. This is like terrible. Like I'm not helping anyone. This is like so self-serving. And it's like, oh, when I get a platform, I'll say I love God. It's like, what? Like I
Yeah.
felt so like disgusted by it, but then I realized like, especially being part of Tiger Belly as well. I just remember Bob. We were joking. I was making fun of like artisanal coffee at Christian churches and stuff like that. And Bobby was like, looked at me and was like kind of joking, like, "Oh, Gilbert, do you want to be saved?" Because we are like joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bobby, I do, and I want you to be as well. And then he thought I think he thought I was joking. And then Kalila, because she saw an Instagram post when I got baptized like months ago, and she was like, "Yeah, Gilbert got baptized," and everyone kind of got quiet.
Like he felt bad.
Not bad, but I think he was just kind of shocked. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know you were like that," and I was like, "Yeah." Leading up to that moment, I was like, I can never talk about it. I can never talk about it because I'll be like, oh, they'll like attack me or whatever. And it's like, no, like nothing happened. And then now what they know is that anytime any good fruits come from me, it's like they're like, at least they can associate with like, that's where it comes from.
Well, and when you were talking about how recognizing that you are, joy is such a part of your life, I was actually going to ask you that if there ever was that moment where you realized that God gave you the gift of being funny to be able to use it and be in the entertainment industry and be able to use your funny to bring joy to other people. So you do know God did tell you.
Yeah, I think he told me. I think I never really like had the maturity to like really understand what that meant, other than like, oh, I have the gift of making fun of it. It's a lot more. It's my humor. I feel like, or the joy I bring, is an access point to people's hearts, which I didn't realize. And as I was taking inventory, because I was doing like Unravel, I was like, oh my God. I was talking about like speaking to some men and just people in general about faith. I was like, if I was not like in the comedy realm, I can already name you like 10 people at Radius that would not be at Radius, just only because of the certain circles I had to go through to get into comedy to Second City. And I ended up being on this thing with them, working on a project. And then I came to Christ, and then I started telling them about church and like where I was in my faith, and then they started coming. So you're right. I feel like, yeah, it's always been there. And it was like, I guess now I'm trying to figure out the specifics of how to harness that. And like, it's not just to bring people joy. It's like bring people joy to an access point to their heart to show them your love for them.
I mean, I remember when we were first talking, I don't think it was when you were first baptized, maybe before or after, I'm not sure, but you were like thinking you wanted to go to Africa or something, or like do some kind of missionary work. I think maybe you felt you needed to do that, but I'm so glad that now you're so grounded in the fact that you know that you have so many things to offer, and being part of the industry and being a Christian, you can serve God even in entertainment. So I'm glad you're not leaving us to go do missionary work, because
which I feel like is I thought I had. See, I'm so like Catholic in that mind, where I was like, there's these steps you have to do. Like I have to serve here, then I have to do a mission trip, because all these Christians always talk about mission trips. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, mission trip would be great if God tells me to. Mm-hmm. Like, it shouldn't be by my own. Like I should have those desires, but it shouldn't be like I have to do it because I'm whatever, a Christian, or like I want to be good. It's like I should pray about those things, and God will tell me when to leave, because He will tell you when you need to do something. But as of now, I just feel like I always try to have discernment of like, are these my things I want to do in this industry, or is I'm really supposed to be here, and He needs me to speak into someone's life, or have someone speak into my life and build something here for Him. So I'm just trying to tune my ear to that. That's like my new like season of just understanding my gifts and tuning my ear into Him, really.
Have you ever felt really discouraged with the industry that you wanted to give up, but you felt like, I can't because God made me be funny? So I have to share that.
I would say I haven't had that exactly conversation. I think I've been discouraged, but this is even, obviously, I feel like not obviously now it's like, oh, God-given hope, but like, I've never been anyone to like get that kind of discouraged. Like as soon as I became an actor, like even before my walk, was like, this is it. Like in the industry, it's like whether, I don't know, I've never really been that discouraged. I don't know. Maybe because I book so much. I'm just kidding. I don't book at all. I'm not Yoshi Sudarso, everyone. I don't just book things with my body, you sicko.
No, but you
clip that and make the tag.
No, but people always want to watch you. I feel like you're always doing something, whether it's Asian AF or your improv. Like people want to see you, so you're always showcasing your performance.
Yeah, Kat. People want to see me do. I need people to see me on TV, though. Okay. No. Also, shout out to Yoshi. That was really cool meeting Yoshi. I didn't know he was actually a Christian, and we started training, and he ended up training me for that Filipino martial arts thing that action comedy I'm pitching. We started training. We've also had some really awesome conversations too, and I heard a little bit more about his upbringing, because I did not know that he was also Christian, and I was really relieved to be like, whoa, dude. Now, I used to think that faith was a private thing, like even growing up, like because like you never want to like offend anyone, but I'm like, what the fuck? I should be offended by people too. Like in the end, it's like whatever your belief system is, it's like you should openly talk about that, whether you're an atheist, whether you're Muslim, whatever you are, because I think the whole point of it is like we're all trying to find truth, right?
Yeah.
So the only way to find truth is to have conversation with people. And then even as a Christian, which I always love, I encourage other Christians, is always challenge yourself too. So don't always assume you know everything, because you don't. And that you should challenge your faith, because you just have to. Like, I don't know everything. So when someone goes like, hey, what about this? I'm like, of course, it's like I'm already convicted in what God is already doing in terms of the metaphysical or Holy Spirit way. But in terms of logical sense, sometimes I'm like, you know what? I don't have that answer. But I'm going to challenge myself, because I know God will give me an answer. But I feel like people shouldn't be stagnant though. So
yeah,
don't be afraid to talk to people. You might not know something. And guess what? It's okay.
Thank you for talking about your faith with me. And I'm so excited to be sharing this with other people. They know that this guy actually believes in God.